it sure is. Welcome in, everybody. Coffee, Country, and Cody, WSM Radio, and Circle Country streaming around the world. And welcome in. I'm Charlie Mattos. That's Eryn Cooper. Andy Nye is our studio director, and our guru pushing all the buttons at the Grand Ole Opry House is Mr. Jeff Roberts this morning. Billy Boy's on vacation, and Kelly Sutton is in Frisco, Texas to cover the ACM Awards, and we can already assure you that they have returned her luggage to her. Oh. We don't know where it ended up, but she's got her luggage, so that's the good news.
Thank goodness.
And we got a lot of fun stuff for you today. In just a little while, Grammy-nominated hit songwriter Tim James is going to come see us. Not only has he written a ton of songs you know every word to by heart, but he's got a brand new book out called Going Crazy, Left Foot, Right Foot, Breathe. Really looking forward to visiting with Tim.
Basics.
And he's going to play live for us as well. And one of our longtime friends, he's been coming to see us pretty much since he won Nashville Star. Buddy Jewell will be with us, and he's going to be a part of a free evening of music this Saturday in Gallatin that we'll tell you all about as well, and we'll make some memories playing some big Buddy Jewell hits. And Eryn Cooper, we're 2 days away, I guess a day and a half away from the actual ACM Awards, but we got winners. We got winners already.
I know.
Yeah.
Kelly Sutton is going to fill us in just a little while on the 3 awards that were given out basically 2 days before the actual ACMs, and we are so excited for these folks. Also, speaking of the ACMs, Nate Smith is teaming up with Avril Lavigne. We knew that for that performance. But what they are going to do, I am so pleased because it's not just a performance. We'll have more on that in a little bit. Also, Keith Urban covering Ariana Grande. Never saw that coming, but Keith does whatever he wants, and it's magic. So all of that and more coming up in entertainment headlines a little later in the show.
This is Coffee, Country, and Cody.
Welcome in, everybody. It's a Wednesday morning here in America's Music City. Coffee, Country, and Cody. Billy Boy on vacation. I'm Charlie Mattos. That's Eryn Cooper. And a pleasure to welcome Grammy-nominated singer-songwriter. And now we can add author to that list. Tim James joins us in studio. Toby Keith, Darius Rucker, George Strait, Chris Stapleton, Trace Adkins, Leanne Womack. That is the short list of folks who have recorded Tim James songs. And
Is that all?
yeah, that's well, I mean,
my
gotta
gosh.
brag a little bit, I guess. So, but welcome. It's great to see you, Tim.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all having me.
Thanks for coming in this morning. So, the question is, new book.
Yeah.
Called Going Crazy.
Yeah.
And it really is kind of both an inside look at your journey through your career and also kind of a sneak peek into what it's like to be a songwriter and that world. And the title may tell a lot about both of those things, right? Yeah.
I thought you were going to say about both of us.
No.
Well, I mean, for sure.
Yeah.
You work in radio, it's going to drive you crazy.
We're all a little nutty.
Yeah. But had the idea been in your mind for a long time that, boy, I've got a pretty good story. I'd like to tell this and not have to tell it in 3 minutes,
Yeah.
right?
You know, it was the true story is I was playing the Bluebird one night, and this lady came up and said, because I told my story, I was like, I grew up on a farm in Murfreesboro, and then I'd never been on an airplane, and I went to L.A. I was going to stay 6 months in L.A. I stayed 12 years, which was, that's a whole nother story. But the lady was like, I don't know how in the world you come back to your home, because this is my home, and get a break at 30-something, end up with your first #1 song at 40. Most people are out of the business at that point. So she just said that story's so fascinating. So I literally went home, just started typing. I always say to people, work begets work, whether it's creative or any other kind of work. So for me, I started typing, and the more I typed, I went, I really want to finish this. And then I got to a place professionally and personally where we all, I think at times feel like, man, I'm losing my marbles up here. Between the business and your personal life, you can go, ooh. But one of my buddies, I was talking to one of my buddies one day, and he just said, man, the only thing I've got for you is left foot, right foot, breathe. Like, you get up in the morning, you do it again. And so I started thinking about my story, and then, like I said, the more I thought about that little mantra, the more I wrote, and then it was an 8-year process.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wow. And did you find it, as often people do when they write this kind of book, cathartic to get it out? Yeah.
Yeah, if you read it, you would go, wow, I'm not sure I would have told that story.
Right.
I think
but those are the ones you got to tell, right?
Well, I can only be me, but my own 86-year-old mom read it and was like, well, Lord have mercy, I just didn't know you was that crazy.
Oh, yeah.
So writing this for you was an 8-year process. We had our friend Troy Cartwright in yesterday who had been in town for 8 years. He has a podcast where he interviews singer-songwriters about their process. So he's probably in his 30s, right? I feel like with the story you tell and the stories that Troy tells, there's so many things that don't change about being a songwriter and being in Nashville, yet so much has changed with how people interact and how people come together to write those songs. What have you seen from your experience, just even in the last couple of years, from how you would traditionally sit down and write a song to how people are writing now with their process?
I would be a little afraid I might get in trouble if I really jumped off into that.
Yeah.
But the nutshell version is the way it's changed is it used to be, two guys with a guitar at 10, and now it's 4 guys with 3 computers and 1 guitar at 11.
Yep.
And that kind of sums it up for me. It used, the guys that when I first moved back home, like, McDill or Kerry Kurt Phillips, guys that I became friends with, they were like, look, man, if we get a great idea today, let's go home. We're not going to sit here and try to carve out or knock out, we don't need 5 songs a week. It's changed in so many ways, not just financially, but in terms of the creative process. Yeah, I think it's track-based in a lot of cases. Now, there's some songs I still believe that find their way through and that are just great songs. But it's a different game. There's no question.
And you mentioned 4. Sometimes it's 5, 6, 7 writers you see on a song, and it's like, well, man, I'm not sure what the creative process was with that. That's almost too many chefs, right? That's
just what I said to somebody last night. That's too many chefs in the kitchen for me.
Yeah. So did you find, though, that in the grand scheme of things, you ended up being a better songwriter in your late 30s and early 40s than if you tried to do it all in 19 and 20? I mean, there's
definitely.
Life, right?
Yeah, I lived a lot of life. If you read that, you'll go, wow, dude, I don't think I would have told that story. But to go back to one of your earlier questions, the cathartic process was, finishing that book. Mm-hmm. That book it details 2 divorces. It's not like it's very raw, I'll put it that way. And the lady that even published it for me, she said, I am attracted to this. And the reviews I've gotten, people say it's so raw and so real. I mean, I was, no spring chicken when I got divorced the second time. I've had 2 mulligans, I like to say. And the second time, I've got 2 daughters, which are great, but I do not pull any punches in there. I say I have moments where I am very empathetic to people that have had, I'm not going to get into it too deep, but I loved Anthony Bourdain. I thought he was so good. And yet you realize after all that happened that there's some stuff going on up here that you don't know about.
Sure.
I would submit to you that most people I know are like that.
Robin Williams instantly comes to mind, too. I saw the best thing, quote one time, right after Robin's passing, that said, every single person you meet every single day will be going through something you have no idea that they're going through.
Amen.
And if you go through life with that, you treat people differently. So first thing I have to mention is the foreword by your friend Toby Keith, who sadly we lost not that long ago, but was such a big part of your career. In fact, a 5-week number 1 that we're going to play in just a few minutes. But your friendship with Toby, your relationship with him, and how much it means to have him, the first thing you read in this book.
Yeah, I contacted TK Kimbrell, his manager, 8 months ago probably. I just sent him a note and said, man, I've written this book. Is there any way you think Toby would write the foreword? Well, Toby knew he was sick. That's just what kind of guy he was. And he said he read kind of part of the book, and then, he said, I'll do it. And it really came through about 3 months before he passed. And so he knew it, he wrote it, and that I think is quite an honor. And truthfully, if I think about the music business, everybody needs a break. I don't know who you get that break from or how you get that break. In my case, when I moved back from California to Murfreesboro, which is where I'm from, shout out Murfreesboro, I got a couple of breaks, but the big break I got was I was hanging out with some guys, and they said, man, I know somebody that's looking to sign writers. Well, when you're a writer and you've had a pub deal and then that company closes, and I was no spring chicken at that time, and I was like, oh, what the heck am I going to do? And then this friend of mine said, man, I know somebody's starting a company. It's Toby Keith and TK Kimbrell. So I just run over there and, as soon as I could get a meeting, and they were like, here's what we're going to offer you. I said, you could just, I don't care what it is. I'm going to sign it. And really, as a result of that, my list got cut because when Toby came in and said, I'm going to cut some songs from the catalog, the other two guys who were super talented writers who had songs he was considering, he said, man, I don't own those songs. The ink wasn't dry.
Right.
They had sent theirs to Lawyerland. Me, I just said, no, you're going to pay me to write songs again. I need the money. Yes, let's do it. So then when he came time to cut, that was the only one he owned. So he said, well, I'm going to cut that. And then when, truthfully, when 9/11 happened, Borchetta was the head of DreamWorks Promotions, and he just said, you want to put out a song that resonates with people, put that out.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah, perfect song, perfect artist, perfect time. It was the perfect storm, if you will, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So, and it's amazing, though, after that goes #1 and becomes a monster hit, how much better of a songwriter you are to everybody else, even though you're the exact same songwriter you were the day before Toby cut it, right?
You have no idea.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Coffee, Country, and Cody.
6:50 a.m. WSM and Circle Country welcome in on this Wednesday morning. Grammy-nominated singer-songwriter, author, triathlete, the things you find out during the break. Tim James, he's going to go swim 10 miles when we wrap up here.
I don't even want to drive 10 miles at this point.
Swimming is easier sometimes than in driving in Nashville with the way this city has become. So, but what an interesting part of your life that was, huh?
Yeah. LA was great for me, man. I was a 22-year-old, 23-year-old kid, never been on an airplane. Got kicked out of one college, flunked out of another. I flunked out of MTSU. It's not the Harvard of the South. Me and school were not good friends. So I went to LA and was just going to stay 6 months. Met a great group of guys. My book talks about some of the first guys I ended up in a basketball game with were George Clooney, Woody Harrelson, guys that went on to do quite well for themselves. But at the time, a lot of my friends are my buddy Danny Carey's the drummer in the band Tool. My friends at the time were just these unemployed dudes that wanted to make it in either comedy or music or acting.
Yeah.
I had no aspirations whatsoever, but the more you hang around creative types, if you have that creative bone in you, the more that those people are going to say, like my buddy said, I don't understand why you're not doing what you love. What's your passion? Like, dude, if you grow up in the South, your parents are like, get a job. So I didn't really think about pursuing it until I got to a place later in life where some of those same people were like, I would play some songs for them on occasion and they would go, it's not very good. And then I'd play some and they'd go, well, that's really good. So I put a band together, having never been on stage, got on stage at like 34, 35 years old and went, I understand why this is a drug. I mean, the minute you do it and you start getting some attention, some attraction, some people, fans going, oh man, we love this. It becomes like a drug.
Yeah.
So I just stayed with it. I realized at one point I was not a good enough singer to probably pursue a record deal, but I came back here, played some songs for a guy, and he said, man, you're talented as a writer, but you need to move back here.
Yeah. Wow. And the book is called Going Crazy. Left Foot, Right Foot, Breathe. Tim James, the foreword by Toby Keith. We played Toby Keith's My List, 5-week #1 song for you. That was the second song you ever got cut. Right. But a guy by the name of Tim Rushlow. What a great voice. Right. Of course, Little Texas fame, but he was doing some solo work. That was the first guy to ever record a Tim James song. Yeah.
Got a Tim Rushlow cut. I don't remember the song was called The World Turns. I wrote it with my friends Fred Wilhelm and Kevin Fisher. And then, the next song I got cut was My List. Mm-hmm. So that's a pretty good entry into the singles world. Oh, and I've had, I think you guys had Buddy Jewell coming on. I had a single with Buddy that me and Stapleton wrote. I've had, you get singles, 50% of them take off and 50% of them fail.
Yeah. Yeah. Buddy's doing a great free show this Saturday out in Gallatin. We're going to talk about. He's been coming to see us for years since Nashville Star. You mentioned Chris Stapleton. It's pretty good to get a cut from Stapleton and Leanne Womack on the same song. Right. That's a pretty good song right there. What's it like to be in the room with Stapleton to write?
When we first started out, he was just like anybody else. He's kind of like the persona you see is kind of what he is. Now, I think once I got to know him, he was one of the funniest, sweetest guys I'd ever been around. Mm-hmm. But it takes a little while to get, to that. But I always tell the story. We've written probably 40, 50 songs together. And the first time that we wrote a song, And it wasn't either way. I think it's the one that's on this new album. It's called Loving You on My Mind. But we cut the tracks, and then because Chris is so laid back, and in the writing session, he's like, yeah, some people lie down. And he's not really singing, and I'm like, okay, I think he's good. And then he came to the session, he goes in the vocal booth, and they like track the song, and all of a sudden he just broke into it, and I said, you want me to do it, or you want to give it a shot? And very humbly, he said, oh, I'll give it a shot. And he went in the booth and started singing, and I was like, what in the world is that?
Yeah.
Like, so thankful I didn't go in there and open my mouth. But yeah, he's a good guy. He's super talented, obviously, as a writer. As a singer, my buddy Kendall Marvel, who's written a bunch of hits too, Kendall and I used to always say, man, this guy's the best singer in town, and he doesn't even know it.
Yeah, he would come in with the Steel Drivers back in the day and just stand in the back and not say a word during the interview portion, but then just blow you away once he opened his mouth to sing.
Yeah,
so,
I don't think he really cares about talking. We spent a lot of time just joking around and cutting up, but I can't reach him lately.
I kind of see a parallel between the two of you, with you saying that you didn't really grow up knowing this is what you wanted to do, and you kind of fell into it and fostered something you were good at, and with Chris being so humble and not, walking into a room and being like, I'm a star, and making sure that you know that. I see very similar aspects in the both of you in that way.
And I heard him in an interview one time say, I didn't know this was a job. Like, I didn't know that you could do that. Well, that was me. Like, even though I grew up 30 minutes away, it never crossed my mind that songwriters made a good living. Again, you grow up in Murfreesboro, and my parents' perception was they're just all a bunch of drunks that go to pool halls, which wasn't the case. When I started doing this, the guys I worked with, they were there at 10 o'clock, and they treated it like a job. And those were the guys that I tried to model my career after. I thought, if Mike Reed says the key to this is to go to work, then you better go to work.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a skill, and you got to sharpen it, right? Yeah.
Constantly.
So, big old hit, Billboard Song of the Year,
Yeah, man.
for Mr. Lee Brice.
That's it.
Yeah. Boy, that's a voice right there too, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Man. I mean, those guys sing for a reason. I mean, he's such a great singer.
Yeah. Oh, wow. So, again, the book is called Going Crazy, Left Foot, Right Foot, Breathe, with the foreword by Toby Keith. How often do you write with an artist in mind, or do you ever write with an artist? Well, I guess if you're sitting in the room with them, that kind of influences a little bit. But
we do now, again, not as much as, in the old days. Again, you would just sit down with these guys, and they would say, we're not shooting for anybody. We're trying to write a great song.
Yeah.
But now, I definitely think it's more geared towards specific artists, because I don't think Kenny Chesney's going to cut the same thing as John Pardee. Or, you know what I mean? It's just so. And I've got one on the new Kenny Chesney record that is, made me go, man, this song is great for. To your point, this song is great for Kenny Chesney. And my song plugger got it to him, and sure enough, he loved it and he cut it. So. Yeah, I think if you heard that song, you'd go, "Oh, you wrote that with him in mind."
Yeah,
sure.
And there are a lot of number ones, and all number ones aren't equal. But a George Strait number one is a pretty cool thing to have on the resume too. And I guess Dean Dillon stopped writing about 45 of them and split them around. But what was it like to get a number one with one of the all-time greats?
Yeah, crazy, literally the craziest thing ever. We just, same thing. We just wrote that song. We didn't try to write it with somebody in mind. And
Give It All We Got Tonight is the song I'm referencing. Yeah.
And then Alicia Pruitt, who is my song person at Warner Chappell, said, I love, love, love this, and took it in and played it for, I guess, Brian Wright at the time. And he was like, man, I love this song. And then they got it to Strait. And getting to George Strait number one is sort of the pinnacle. So I was like, man, I should just quit. But then you realize, I told somebody this yesterday, this is what you do. Like, even if you don't want to do it, you could be driving down the road and all of a sudden I catch myself singing into my phone, like, what? Just part of what I do. I can't stop it.
Yeah.
So.
It's all about listening too, because you never know where that light bulb's going to go off. It's like, hang on a second, let me write that down, right? Yeah. So Tim James has been our guest. Brand new book. You'll learn all about these stories and an incredible life. It's called Going Crazy. Left foot, right foot, breathe. Thanks for coming in and hanging out with us this morning. Really enjoy us. Come see us again.
Absolutely.
All right. This is Coffee, Country, and Cody. Entertainment with Eryn Cooper, and we've already got winners at the ACM Awards. We might just get a visit from Kelly Sutton from Texas as well. That's coming up next. My wife wants a do-over on meeting Vince Gill.
Oh.
Because she's in the 19 years we've been married, as of yesterday was our anniversary, but the 21 years we've been together, the only person she has ever asked to meet is Vince Gill. And it took a long time to get it to happen, but we did it for her birthday last year. And she just was so giddy. It was like crazy.
That's so great.
And at the end she goes, "Is it okay if I ask you for a hug?" It was like so sweet, but I could see her like in hindsight saying, "Oh, I was such a goof, so I'd like a do-over on meeting Vince."
It's so special to like feel that way about a performer that you admire. So I'm happy that she feels that way, and I'm sure she did great.
And he could not have been nicer. I mean, it was just the perfect night. That he was playing the Opry, she was coming, and it was her birthday. So, and it was Vince and Amy's anniversary.
Oh my
so
gosh.
always remember that March the 10th is Renee's birthday and Vince and Amy's
It was
anniversary.
meant to be.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, but
And last night for your anniversary, I
Yep.
think what you guys ended up doing was so cute.
well, the weather was going to be bad, and it was bad.
Yes.
And she had a really long day at work, so we ordered in pizza and Caesar salad.
That's perfect.
and watched Bluey.
Oh my gosh. Ideal.
Jackson wanted to watch Bluey for some reason.
That's perfect.
So we had like a 10-episode Bluey marathon.
Are you a
It still bothers me that they're both girls, by the way, on Bluey.
Well,
I really thought because the dad's a boy, so I thought the two Blue were boys. What are you looking at me like that? Of course the dad's a boy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. He gave me a look like,
Very good.
So I thought
Charlie.
the two blue ones were boys and the two brown ones were girls. And then someone told me that Bluey's a girl, and it disturbed me a little bit.
Well, even though I thought it was very obvious, Blue's Clues was my jam growing up, and I always knew that Blue was a girl, but some people didn't realize that Blue was a girl dog.
Okay.
So I understand this struggle.
Okay. We not only have located Kelly Sutton, but we have located her luggage.
Yes,
So all
thank
is good in
God.
Texas, right?
Yes, right after I knew this was going to happen. We were going to get off the air, and then she was going to get her luggage. That's exactly what happened. She posted to her Instagram story that she got her bags. She looked stunning for the first day of Media Days out in Frisco, Texas for the ACM Awards, and she sent us a little update for the morning. Let's hear what happened last night for the ACMs.
Good morning. Hello, WSM family. It's Kelly checking in from Frisco, Texas. And let me just tell you, we are gearing up for the 59th annual ACM Awards. Standing on the star right now, this is the practice facility for the one and only Cowboys. Yeah, Jerry Jones's Cowboys. I'm not going to do the impersonation. I'm going to leave that one to Bill. But I will tell you, it has been fun already because we had a chance to hand out 3 awards. Best New Duo of the Year going to Tiger Lily Gold. Best New Male Artist of the Year went to Nate Smith. And Best New Female Artist of the Year, Megan Maroney. So congratulations to all of them. Early ACM Award winners. Now later tonight, you can watch us on Twitch on the live stream. So go to Twitch, look for the Amazon Music channel. Amber Anderson and I are going to take you behind the scenes. It's backstage with Kelly and Amber. And then you can also watch for free on Thursday, the 59th annual ACM Awards hosted by Reba McEntire are going to get started at 8 o'clock, but tune in early. Get there at 6 o'clock Central Time. This is why. Amber and I get to host the red carpet. And I don't want you guys to miss that. It's free. It's on Prime Video. You can also watch that one on Twitch. So write it down. I'm going to be giving you updates on everything that's going on behind the scenes right here in Texas. For now, I'm signing off. Bye, y'all.
Oh, just remarkable. So happy that she has all of her stuff. She's going to absolutely crush the red carpet tomorrow night. Again, you can watch on Amazon and on Twitch.
She has nice luggage, by the way.
I
Nice-
know.
The Samsonite luggage, very nice luggage.
Very nice. It all matches.
Yeah.
Good for
None of
her.
my luggage matches, but all of it was free, so I can't complain. I'll take free.
Just to recap the 3 ACM Awards that they already gave out last night. Everybody who won them, it's their first one. Tiger Lily Gold, Best New Duo. Best New Female Artist, Megan Maroney. And New Male Artist is Nate Smith.
Yep.
So
And Nate is a Opry Next Stage alum, and today is the Opry Next Stage concert, and Jelly Roll's going to host. And you can watch that on the Opry's Facebook page and YouTube page, and it's absolutely free, the live stream. So it should be a lot of fun. 2:30 this afternoon Central Time. Adjust accordingly wherever you are watching on Circle Country.
Now, speaking of Nate Smith, this is my Roman Empire. This is my multiverse of madness for you Marvel fans. And this is my Super Bowl. Nate Smith.
Wow. Okay. I'm like
the gravity of the situation.
I'm like prepared now.
Nate Smith
Yes.
was seen skateboarding with Avril Lavigne over the summer. We knew they had started a friendship. We also know that Avril Lavigne will be performing with Nate Smith tomorrow night on the ACMs, and we now know the performance is going to be a duet of his song Bulletproof, which is climbing the charts. They announced it in the most adorable way with a text exchange, if you're watching on Circle Country right now. They really kind of drag it out here and really kind of draw you in.
It's well done.
I know.
It is well done.
It's so cute. I wonder if it's actually Avril or if Nate was like, hey, manager, I'm going to change your name to Avril in my contacts and
I think so. Yeah.
type to you and screen record it. She can hit notes that are unreal, and she can do it live, too.
Yeah, she's always had a good voice. You know,
Yes.
Complicated was 22 years ago.
Stop.
That's hard to believe.
No.
Skater Boy was the follow-up, but Complicated was truly the one that, like, blew up for her, and, like, everybody suddenly realized who this person is.
Oh, it was just so
I forgot she's
phenomenal.
Canadian, too.
Yes.
Yeah.
She is, in
So-
fact, Canadian. And the reason we were able to play you ahead of time what it's going to sound like is because they also announced not only are they performing it tomorrow night, they're releasing it as a single when they perform it.
Yeah.
So
They look good together, too. It's a fun,
I
it's a
know.
really fun pairing. So.
What a fun
All right.
little friendship.
And that'll be tomorrow night on Prime Video.
That's right.
And you don't have to be a Prime member. By the way, for the awards, you can watch for free. You don't have to be a Prime member. Usually for most of the Prime Video stuff, you got to be a Prime member. But for the award show and the red carpet, we should plug Kelly and Amber doing that as well.
Absolutely.
That's the pre-show going in as well. So
Yes.
a lot of fun.
All right. So when you live in Nashville, there's always going to be FOMO. There's always a show going on somewhere, and you won't even know about it until a day later. And there's every once in a while, there will be an experience where it's like, I wish I would have known about this, or that is a live performance I wish I was there for. That was earlier this week when Keith Urban decided to cover Ariana Grande.
So where was he?
He was at the, where was it? Oh, the UMG Nashville Showcase.
Okay.
It happened a little bit earlier this week. Of course, he did another very intimate crowd performance, which he's known to do kind of surprisingly. He captioned his cover of this song, "It is audible heroin." And
Yes,
the cool thing about this is if you listen to Ariana's original version, it's a very 80s synth poppy orchestral song.
Oh, so he has stripped it down to its bare.
He has completely stripped it
Wow.
down. And I think it's because he saw her perform it at the Met Gala last week. They were both in attendance and Ariana performed. Both beautiful renditions, but Keith Urban can do no wrong.
And pet peeve to all spoiled people at the UMG event, shut up! Keith Urban is singing. Don't talk while he's singing. Did you hear all the people like chattering in the background? Be
my gosh,
quiet,
literally.
people. Be quiet. All right, pet peeve. I have many pet peeves. By the way, people who don't walk up escalators. I was doing cardio around the hotel yesterday, and people are standing on the escalator.
How dare
Walk.
they?
It's got stairs. Walk up the escalator. Okay. Coming up in just a little bit, our longtime friend Buddy Jewell is coming by. He's brought his guitar. We'll feature new music from Buddy as well and tell you about a great show coming up this Saturday that's free, featuring Buddy Jewell and our buddy John Berry. That's coming up on Coffee, Country, and Cody.
Coffee, Country, and Cody.
Oh, it's a good time on Coffee, Country, and Cody. Anytime our longtime friend Buddy Jewell steps in the studio and has a seat and is going to play live for us. It's been a while, not too long, but it's always great to see your smiling face.
Man, it's always great to get to come here. One of my favorite places in the world, for sure.
And you are part of a really cool event Saturday night. For those who are listening or watching locally here in Nashville, they know where Gallatin is, certainly, and Triple Creek Park. But for those watching on Circle Country and maybe thinking, that might be kind of a little fun road trip, you and your longtime friend John Berry will be headlining a really fun night of music.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. We were just looking at the weather
Yeah.
earlier. Looks like
I think it's gonna be all right.
night.
Yeah.
And yeah, John, a great guy, great singer, and he hit me up a few weeks ago and asked if I could come help out. It's a free event. The community's welcome. Bring your lawn chairs and your mosquito dope. as we used to
a
call it.
lot of
Bring your
that stuff,
mosquito
right?
dope.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I love following on Instagram, by the way, and Facebook as well. I love your Tuesdays because that's the really, really great stuff that you've been doing for a little while now. But I couldn't help but be a little worried because a couple of months ago we had to cancel a gig because I see you like on your back with a huge ice pack on your leg, and I'm like, oh man, did he fall downstairs? What happened? You had knee surgery.
Wow.
Yeah, I had a total knee replacement, my left knee, and I've been needing it for several years. I got hired to do a pheasant hunt in Nebraska back in 2012, and I thought I was just singing, but they said, no, you got to hunt too.
Right.
So I wound up stepping in a post hole and tore both meniscus at the same time, and it was the second time I'd torn the left, so it was time.
See, I was thinking this goes back to the football days in college, but this is a fresh injury.
I'm sure that didn't help.
Well, that's true too. Yeah.
You know, ironically, the only time I ever got hurt in college was I hyperextended the right knee, but I never had any other, well, a couple of concussions, but that's
That would have happened as a songwriter or singer anyway,
Yeah,
right?
no
Just
kidding.
a different kind of mental injury in this
banging
business.
your head against the wall here in Nashville.
Oh gosh, yeah. So, well, I referenced when we said you're visiting this morning that you really have been coming to see us for 20-something years, ever since Nashville Star made you truly a Nashville star.
It was 21 years ago, May the 3rd.
Yeah.
Sure
my
was.
God.
Wow. Oh, we're so close to the anniversary.
Yeah, very close.
Yeah, and we're going to feature a great 20th anniversary version of Sweet Southern Comfort. And Clint Black is featured on that song along with the Bellamy's and Marty Raybon. But Clint Black was such an early part of your career, right?
Yeah, he was. He was our mentor on the very first season of Nashville Star, and the part of the deal was Clint was going to produce whoever won. Mm-hmm. And so I got to become friends with Clint, and we're still friends today. He's on the re-record of Sweet Southern Comfort. But just a great guy. I really enjoyed working with him.
Yeah, and you guys had such brilliant marketing because there's a great line in that song, and Eryn Cooper is a Crimson Tide alum.
Oh, my
Yes.
goodness.
And there's a great line in the
Tide.
original, Roll Tide Roll, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you guys were so smart that you tailored, I don't know how many versions you did, but to every part of the country, it was like Go Titans Go or, Go Sox Go or whatever it was. Everybody had their own version of that song.
158 different versions.
Oh.
Holy cow.
We did.
How, did you cut them in? You couldn't have possibly cut them in one night, right?
Well, Clint and I, of course, you just had to change essentially one or two lines.
Right, yeah.
But we spent 12 hours in the studio one day. When Columbia decided they were going to release it as a single, someone in promotion or whatever said, "Hey, why don't we do one for everybody that wants one?"
Yeah.
And so we did. And the only thing they didn't do right was they should have made all of them available on iTunes and all that.
Oh, then everybody could have downloaded their own version, right?
I mean, that would have been tons.
Because the people in Auburn, Alabama, are not playing Roll Tide Roll, right?
They should.
Yeah, or Knoxville, Tennessee, for that matter. They ain't playing Roll Tide Roll, right?
My fiddle player for a long time was an Auburn grad. In fact, he's a professor there at Auburn now, and he hated singing that song.
I bet. So going back to your reality TV days, as somebody that grew up in the late 90s, early 2000s, seeing reality TV kind of come into its own is one of my favorite things to deep dive into. So after winning Nashville Star and then going on to Star Search, and now we still have these reality shows like American Idol and such, but you're seeing people get instant gratification on the internet now, posting their own content, whereas before, this kind of reality TV was instant gratification back in the day, where you would watch, a couple weeks of a show, but now you're seeing some people where it's like, okay, seemingly the next day, now they've blown up. That must be an interesting dichotomy to watch with your background.
Well, hey, first of all, kudos if you can do it. Great, it doesn't matter to me how they got there. I think I see these folks that do that, and they're great at marketing. And Nashville Star. I was on Ed McMahon's Star Search back in the early '90s. Yeah. And so that was literally that, and You Can Be a Star were probably the only reality shows on. Yeah. And even in 2003, when Nashville Star hit, there was only maybe a handful of reality shows in. And to see where it's gone nowadays, like you're talking about. But I think obviously the internet and social media has been a huge factor in people being able to get their music out there that weren't able to otherwise. So I think it's great.
Yeah, and for a lot of folks, and you were one who took advantage of it too, that during the pandemic when we were kind of forced to shut down, it allowed you to still have a connection with the fans that you can't go out and play live for.
Yeah, I was already. You talked about my show Tuesdays too. I do a 6 p.m. Central every Tuesday night. I do a show called Tuesdays Tune live on Facebook, and we started doing that in 2017. And
so you beat the pandemic by 3 years on that process.
We were ahead of it, Yeah, and suddenly everybody was showing up doing it. But so it was a great way to still stay in touch with my fans and stuff. So Hey, I love it.
Yeah, and your fans have been really loyal too. There've been a lot of folks with you for the 21-year ride, haven't they? I bet you see familiar faces all around the country.
I do, and amazing all around the world. And I've been so blessed. God's been so good to me, Charlie. I've been, I think, 28, 29 different countries that I've performed in, and just fans all over the world that walk up to me and go, your song "Help Pour Out the Rain" was the first big hit.
Yep.
And that just really struck up with folks. And "Sweet Southern Comfort" is probably the biggest radio hit for me.
How old is Lacey now?
Lacey just turned 30 back in November.
And she would have been how old when that song was written?
Well, she was about 3 when she gave me the idea for it.
Right.
And I wrote it, I don't know, a few months later, and it took me about 4 or 5 years to finish the song.
Yeah.
And so by the time I was on Nashville Star, she was 9.
Wow. And was that the first single or "Sweet Southern Comfort" the first single? Because they both were big hits.
Yeah, Lacey's song "Help Pour Out the Rain" was the first single.
Wow. Now, when I started feeling old, because Buddy was in, maybe 7, 8 years ago, and my son just turned 11, right? But he was like 3 at the time. And you were playing a gig, and I go, man, I'd love to go, but we just can't find babysitters anymore. He goes, well, Lacey will take care of them. I'm like, how old is Lacey? And he's like, she was like 18 at the time. I'm like, oh, dear, I'm still picturing a 3-year-old, but you forget that everybody ages, not just yourself, So, but and you got 3 grandbabies, but you got 4 is close on the way, right?
Yeah, Lacey is due June the 7th with her second, her and Brian, my son-in-law's second daughter. Her name's going to be Summer, and praise God, she makes it here safe and everything. But yes, my oldest buddy and his wife Tammy have Phoenix, who's our oldest granddaughter. She'll be 3 in July. And then there's Harper, who's Lacey and Brian's first. Yeah. And then you saw Austin the other day. He's 8 months old, and soon Summer will be here.
Yeah. The Buddy Jewel, by the way, on Instagram, if you want to see all these photos that I'm recognizing. Yeah. Oh, that's great. And I love the fact that they're all so close in age, because then they'll grow up together and and have that special relationship. I'm an only child, as is Eryn.
Yeah.
But, growing up in New England, if you drew a 10-mile circle around my house, that's every aunt, uncle, cousin. So I grew up surrounded by family, and that stuff's huge.
It is, man. And it's sad that doesn't happen more often these days, but, it's one of those necessary evils. You got to go where you got to go. But we're blessed to have all 3 kids within striking distance.
Yeah. And how many years of marriage for you now?
It'll be 36 in December. She'll keep me that long.
Wow. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. She still says in fact, I'm in a contract year this year. So she says.
I see.
Well, you better have a good season. That's when people have their good season on contract years, right? So.
Well, Tanae's been amazing. She has put up with a lot of crap from me. And she deserves, she deserves a blue ribbon, a statue in the middle of town, and a street named after her.
Wow.
Incredible.
How many countries you say you've been to?
29.
Wow.
Yeah.
How often have you been able to take the family, though, and experience the playing part of it, but also make a little bit of a voyage, and everybody gets to have a little fun on this one?
Well, on just a couple of things, and I hadn't been able to take the entire family, except we did up some cruises a couple of times I played on. But my oldest buddy, he has his own business, but he also plays drums for me on the road now. And so he gets to travel with us. He's been to France and Italy, and I'm trying to think where else with us. And Tanae, I finally talked her into quitting her job last year, so she travels with me full time now. So,
that's great.
Yeah, last year we did 7 different countries. We were spent time in Ireland. In fact, hopefully I get to sing a song for you about that trip. And
what is it with, by the way, kids of singer-songwriters playing the drums? You mentioned Buddy plays the drums. John Barry's son is a drummer.
Yeah.
Stephen Curtis Chapman, the kids from Colony House, I swear one of them is a drummer. T. Graham Brown, who's our newest member of the Grand Ole Opry, his son came out and played drums for him on his Opry induction night.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but there's something about the drums when it comes to musical families.
Well, they probably want to beat on their dad instead.
Well, we referenced the 20th anniversary edition of Sweet Southern Comfort, and a lot of your friends joined you on this one.
Yeah, it was really cool. Of course, Clint Black was part of the reason it was a hit the first time around. He was my first call, and he was immediately on board. And then Marty Rabin has been such a wonderful, I consider him a friend, but just a great influence as well. A wonderful Christian man and one heck of a singer. And then the Bellamy Brothers was really a surprise to me. I've met him in passing, but didn't really know him, and I opened for him. I guess it was December or something like that, late 2022.
And more in studio with our longtime friend Buddy Jewell. He is playing Saturday night, Triple Creek Park in Gallatin. A free night of music at the park. It starts at 6:30. John Berry, Buddy Jewell, Mike Ferris, who is amazing talent and vocalist. That guy can sing anything from the most gospel-y gospel to the hardest rock and roll. He is a talent. Elaine Roy, Bobby Marquez, Mackenzie Phipps, and more on that. But again, that's free. Triple Creek Park in Gallatin at 6:30. Our guest earlier this morning was Tim James, great songwriter, Grammy nominated, BMI Billboard Songwriter of the Year, big hits with Toby Keith and Lee Brice, George Strait, just to name a few. But he mentioned, I saw Buddy Jewell's coming up next. Yeah, but Buddy and I did a single together, and you guys go way back, though, Buddy.
Yeah, we do. I met Tim. It's probably 1996, something like that. We were working on the Broadway dinner train downtown.
Yep.
So
was
fun.
around for about 4 or 5 years. Yeah, Tim, I believe, was a server, and I played in one of the bar cars.
Wow.
From time to time.
Yeah, I lived downtown right on First Avenue back when the thermal plant still was downtown. And the train was right in back of the thermal plant.
Yep.
This is all where Ascend Amphitheater is now, if you want a reference to it. But I love the Broadway dinner train. I took my parents on it a couple times. I thought it was like a 2-hour ride. You got a really nice meal and a performance all in the same night. It was everything you love without having to do any work.
Yeah, and they were brilliant because they did at night. Because if you did during the daytime, you saw the junkyard.
Oh, it was not a pretty no, it was not the most scenic of train rides.
I've never thought about that. That's so true.
Oh no, this is not like Eurail through like the Alps or something. No, but at night was the perfect time to do it. Very true. Well, you got your guitar out. You're going to do one live for us.
Yeah, so I was talking about, I spent a lot of time last year, and we were in 7 different countries. Ireland was one that we spent about 10 days over there touring, and my wife, Tanae, her sisters got to go with us. And the last day we were in Dublin getting ready to come back, and it finally started raining. It'd been really beautiful the whole 10 days, which is amazing for Ireland.
Oh, that's the opposite of many people's trips over there, right? It was finally sunny the day we left is what we most often hear. Yeah. That is so great. Oh wow, that's beautiful. And songwriting I have not, and I can't do it, but I understand one thing though. So much of it is much like doing a radio interview. It's about listening. And you never know where that idea is going to come from. And boy, that one offhanded comment sparked a beautiful song.
Well, thanks. Yeah, I had to give the sisters credit. So we put them on. They're a third, a third, and a third. So the song wouldn't happen if it weren't for them.
I love that. Yeah, you still got family in Arkansas because that's certainly where you grew up and went to college. Arkansas State alum.
Yeah, my brother and sister are still back there. Pam lives in the same little town she's lived in for 40-something years, I guess.
So have you played this song for them? What do they think about this Texas heart? And back to Houston. I realize poetic license, and I realize Arkansas doesn't flow into a song quite as well.
Well, when I said you had, just like the artistic license, truth, then head on back to Houston.
Oh.
And had I been able to find an Arkansas thing, I might have been able. But Arkansas is not very poetic.
Quick, what rhymes with Arkansas? Can you think of anything right now?
Well, Fayetteville, not gonna. Jonesboro, whatever, not gonna work.
That's why Clint and I did "Go Hogs Go" instead of.
Yeah. There you go. Oh, I love that. Buddy Jewell is our guest this morning on Coffee, Country, and Cody. And again, playing this Saturday night, Triple Creek Park in Gallatin. John Berry on the bill as well with Mike Ferris and so many more. And it's absolutely free. Not much in life is free anymore.
No.
Parking for sure in Nashville is a thing of the past. So you and Tanae have moved out of, still very much in Middle Tennessee, but a little further out than you had in a long time.
Yeah, we're out around Tim's Ford Lake.
And, it's beautiful out there, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's gorgeous. I've yet to be on the lake or in the lake, but we're working towards it.
But you can see the lake, right?
Yeah, we can see the lake.
Okay, all right. We got time for one more. If you would like to do one more.
Yeah. I as I said before, I may have to tune real quick.
All right,
we'll chat.
All right. TheBuddyJewell.com, by the way, on Facebook and Instagram if you want to follow Buddy. And how many shows you still do a year? Because you're still pretty active out there on the road.
Gosh, last year was a great year. I think we probably had 60, 70 shows, something like that.
Yeah.
And
well, I just love you and a guitar, too. Not that a full band isn't a great experience, but you're one of those guys who can tell a story and then set up a song, and that's a skill. But I guess that's how you grew up, too. That's what, doing the singer-songwriter thing. You referenced writing that song in Ireland. What we have found almost universally from people who have played a lot in Europe is they love songwriters and they love lyrics and they truly listen. and it's and they're very quiet when you're singing, and if you're not used to it, it can throw you a little bit at first.
Yeah, it's like the Bluebird on
Yes.
a grander scale. They put the big shh sign out.
Yeah, exactly. But if you're used to playing like bars and honky tonks growing up and doing cover tunes where, there's a skill to playing where no one's listening to you just as much as there's a skill to playing where everybody's listening to
I
you.
heard you talking about Keith a while ago.
Yeah.
And I played a show like that here a while back. It was like $50 a ticket, and these people are talking. I'm going, you're $50.
Yeah,
Still get paid
I'm
the
going to get
same.
paid the same, right?
All right, Tyler Childers on the stage of the Grand Ole Opry. Oh, Charlie just brewed some coffee because we're going to do a taste test here in just a second. We've been teasing this all morning. Why is the gravity of this so high, Charlie?
Well, I wouldn't say this is like the end-all and be-all of taste tests, but I was very excited, and I'm the only person I know who likes the coffee and chicory, okay? So a little history on the coffee and chicory for everyone, okay?
Please.
So back in the Civil War, coffee was at a premium, and the soldiers didn't have coffee, and this is how I understand the story. But so chicory is like a root, and they would grind the chicory and add it to the coffee to stretch the coffee, and hence it became like a thing, right?
Yes.
And very, very popular in New Orleans. You go to Café du Monde, the French Marketplace does it as well. Community Coffee, which is New Orleans based, their coffee and chicory is fantastic. These are, I think, Infusio is the brand, because you get a ton of them for not much.
Right.
They come in a box of like 90 on Amazon for like $30, which is like an incredible price.
Yeah, we
so,
got
but
that.
Annie has agreed to be our guinea pig this morning
Why not?
and try the
Why not?
try the coffee and chicory. So
Yes, I'm excited. I have to say, my uncle talked about chicory coffee, and he likes it, but his roommate thought that the coffee machine was going bad because
it's a very unique taste.
he was brewing himself this.
Yes.
So
And
Here we
again,
go.
Bill,
I'm
when I used to
excited.
actually brew the coffee, said it made the whole area smell like a litter box.
Exciting.
And on that note,
enticing.
So,
That's
so
enticing.
you enjoy.
she's taking a sip.
And it's piping hot.
Well, it is that. Yes, it is. I literally just
Piping
brewed
hot. It's not bad. It's strong coffee. It's dark. Ask.
You are a sommelier. As if like I don't know what the coffee term for wine sommelier is, but pretend that's what you are.
Kind of like
Okay.
a barista, if you will.
Is
that
that
more
notes?
makes
Is
the
that a-
coffee,
right.
but not the coffee
Describe,
expert.
like use words.
notes, the
yes, the
notes.
notes.
Yes.
What are the notes?
Earthy, right? It's got an earthy.
Yeah,
Yes.
dirty.
Yeah.
But not dirt. Not
No, but not in a
not
disgusting
dirty,
kind of way.
But like dirt-like.
What? Okay, that's not a whole lot better, but it is very well. It's a root, right?
Yeah,
So,
sure. It's also burning off my taste buds.
Oh well, there's that. So listen, you're taking one for
Listen, it's not bad. I think with a lot of creamer,
So
it would wake me
So you
up.
make a milkshake out of
Yeah.
it. It'll be okay. All right, all right.
No, it's really not bad.
In more pleasant experiences, Annie, you just got a new doggy.
I did.
Mm-hmm.
My boyfriend brought home an 8-year-old Chihuahua mix named Chimuelo.
Okay,
Look
but no,
at
he's a big
him.
boy. He is. I pictured
He's
like a tiny
larger
little
than
thing.
a little Chihuahua
Right.
would be, yes. But he's kind of perfect sized.
Mm-hmm.
He just sits in my lap. He's very friendly. There he is, sitting next to a baby for reference.
Okay.
That's
if
a
you're
really
watching.
good gauge.
Yeah.
Well, he's got big ears.
He's got, yes, and not very good listening ones, but
Okay.
no, but he only speaks Spanish. We
I was
found
going to say
out.
he's bilingual, but no, he's not
No,
really not.
he's
He's just
bilingual.
He's just not English
He-
lingual.
Yes, correct. He only knows his name, and he knows when I'm going into the treat bag.
All right.
He knows
Well,
that
only the
sound.
essentials.
Yes, that is
And he is 8.
he's 8 years old.
Oh,
Yes.
see, I love that he's a
sweet.
senior
Yes.
too, and he needs a good home. So
He absolutely
all
does.
right.
Yes.
So, and Chimuelo.
Chimuelo.
Chimuelo's dad is a serviceman at Fort Campbell, so he's
Correct,
going
yeah, I was just
and,
gonna
and
say.
he needed a home, so it's a win-win.
It's a win-win, and we
Yeah.
took him in, and we love him,
Right.
and he just really just sleeps, eats, and takes walks.
All right.
And
all I
Chimuelo means,
Chimuelo means toothless,
but he has all of his
but he
teeth.
has
Right.
every single one.
So
Yes.
my only frame of reference has to be How to Train Your Dragon.
Right. That's what we decided. So yes, his first dad had children. So we hope that is how he got his name. But yeah, and then we watched How to Train Your Dragon to give him kind of his origin tale to kind of, remind him of his roots.
His
where he came from.
ancestry.com.
Yes.
Okay.
And they say in How to Train Your Dragon that they give the people ugly names to, I guess, to like instill fear. So that's kind of how that happened. And now he's Chimuelo.
All right. And so everyone's pet doesn't feel left out.
Oh, yes. We have my kitty cat, Miss Sugar. Her full name is Watermelon Sugar, named
She's
after the Harry
perfect.
Styles song. And if you're watching on Circle Country, she's white and fluffy, and she's holding up a little watermelon slice toy like a phone.
And Miss Kate the Beagle making her Coffee, Country, and Cody debut.
Look at her.
In her default position.
Look at the ears.
She's sweet.
We adopted her when she was 5, and this October she will be 13. So
my goodness.
She's perfect.
She's a good girl. She's a good girl. And she loves me just a little bit more than she loves my wife, which is the best thing for an only child. This is Coffee, Country, and Cody. We got a great show for you tomorrow, too. We'll come back and tell you all about that. Oh, it's been a lot of fun on the Wednesday show. Thanks for hanging out with us. Tomorrow morning on Coffee, Country, and Cody, another chance to win tickets to see the Mavericks. They're at the Mother Church, December 6th and 7th. We've got tickets for Friday, December 6th. December 7th, the anniversary of yours truly driving into Nashville on Pearl Harbor
We're
Day.
so glad you did.
Very fitting, I think,
Yeah.
right? So, Mark Conklin, Rhonda Vincent, John Berry, all in studio together. They're all featured on Mark's new album, The Gospel According to Mark. And our longtime friend John Cowan stops by to chat about his new memoir, Hold to a Dream. That's all coming up on Thursday's Coffee, Country, and Cody. You're going to go get a nap because you were out late last night.
Oh,
I
yeah.
know
So's
that,
Annie.
so.
Maybe.
She worked long day yesterday.
You had corporate training last night
I
to
sure
learn
did.
about the joy of our company.
And here I am.
She'll do a dissertation tomorrow. See you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.